Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's October 1st. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and you can see we had a big engulfing bar today, closed higher. I'm not sure. We might have had a new all-time close higher. Let's see. We definitely traded to all-time new high. We closed at 67.57. And the previous close was 67. Yeah, so we even closed at an all-time new high. So another new contract high today, another new contract close high today. So this market continues higher. And notice how we bounced right off that midline and went higher. So will we go higher tomorrow? We'll just have to see. I mean, we've got room. My guess is we're going to head to this upper trend channel line if we can make it, probably at least to this upper uh, envelope band line. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. This thing just keeps marching higher, and this market wants to go higher for now. So anyway, there it is on the daily chart. Let's flip over to the intraday chart. You can see we traded down during the overnight and then re re reversed and really traded up all for the rest of the day and closed pretty close to the highs of the day. So, but let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, take a look at it, and we'll go through the trades. Okay, here's our chart. And really, you can see we had this early trend up with a close outside and then a move to a new high. And then we just kind of went sideways here after that, into and after that new high, and then broke higher again. So really, we had three different trends up. We had a break of this one, move to a new high, and it just continued. So um, really, we had multiple uh, trends up today. So not a lot of trades, but there's a couple of pretty decent trades. And I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, on these really strong up moves like this, sometimes you just don't get a lot of setups, unfortunately. So you don't get a lot of big corrections that really give you a good setup. So that's kind of what happens and what holds us back from having more trades. But let's zoom in here. We also had a couple of news items. We had a 9 o'clock um, we had the manufacturing. I was thinking we had something at 7:15 too. I marked it off. Maybe I'm not sure. There wasn't a setup there anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Um, really, we were just kind of working sideways here at the around 7 o'clock, and then we bounced off this low and the key entry point. I like going long there. I would count this as a double top, and really all of this is a double top, and so it's really like two legs back as well. But really, in the end, you're just kind of playing the range rules here and a bounce off the key entry point. You got both the range and the trend line kind of converging there, and so that was a great place to enter. You're not going to get a big runner or anything, unfortunately, but it's still a quick, easy trade. You do get a higher low, but no setup there, and this thing just kind of takes off. You get a close outside and two legs to a new high, and then you make a lower high. This is an engulfing bar. This broke higher first and turned down. That's a fully bullish bar for the most part, so you could enter that on the engulfing bar. Uh, Actually, I prefer entering that on the engulfing bar. If you wait till here, you're really close to that trend line where it could bounce on you again. Um, but I would still call that yellow if you entered below. Or, I'm sorry, green. I don't know where yellow came from, but green on that one. A little bit of caution there. Maybe that's why I was thinking yellow caution. But if you wanted to enter that on the engulfing bar, and again, engulfing bars, 95% of you probably should ignore those for now. But if you catch this one, you catch a really good move down. Probably get a runner on this one. And it bounces here, but unfortunately, it bounces right into that PMI news at 9 o'clock. So by 8:50 or so, you needed to be flat. And there were a couple of nice trades entries in there, but you just had to ignore them. So, but we came out of that news, kind of working sideways and pulled back here. You get a little failed break lower. I like entering that one. Um, it's not a perfect setup by any means, but it's right off the key entry point. I do like entering there. I did mark that one green because it's not perfect. We move on up. We pull back to the key entry point again. You get a first entry, a close outside, and then a new low, and a break above that to second entry long. I like that trade. So I like going long right there as well. So that one runs on up, pulls back. There's another second entry here, and it's a fairly, I mean, does that qualify? Probably not. I mean, I don't think it closes in the upper 1/3. It's close, but really it just looks like sideways stuff to me. So I'd skip that one. It does break out here and fail. There's a lower high here after a break in a new high, but there's a good chance we're in a bigger channel here. So I didn't mark this short, but it's a possibility as well. Prices will probably come back on a breakout of this channel, at least back to the EMA, and there is room there. So maybe you take that one. You just have to be careful going short in this a strong uptrend kind of day. So at this point, this is looking like we're really going to have a big uptrend. So there would be a channel working back down here as well. So you can see that there, but it just kind of continues to work sideways. And I don't see any other trades that I like to the long or short side there. Notice how we didn't quite get back to the low there, and then we break out. So that's telling you there's a little strength right there. So going short is questionable as well there. I would just sit tight. You actually have a trend line working higher here as well. It's going to look something like that. So you got to be careful going short right there. And you see it does bounce right off the midline and that possible trend line. Then here we're just chopping sideways. It does come back and you get a triple test here with a nice signal bar. You can see that 1, 2, 3 decent signal bar. I like going long, and once again it's off to the races. Just runs up, close outside, new high, and then we're working lower here. It's a possibility that you had a close outside. Let me just remove this for now so you can see it. It's not a really strong close outside. I mean, it's not a convincing close, but maybe it's a close in a new high. So you end up getting this. This is mostly sideways, but it is working lower. So this is one of those you could trade both ways if you got the right setup. Here you don't have room before you get back to this possible upper trend line. I think it would have worked if you took it, but I wouldn't risk it. Yeah, I mean, they're just, you see, you got just enough, and there's 6 ticks there, so you would have just enough to scalp out with 4 ticks. But I'm a little wary of it because back to the trend line, there's not enough room to scalp out. So I would sit tight. There is a second entry there, but not a good enough setup, no, and you don't want to go short into that trend line anyway. But then you get the break and it moves up, and you get a first entry and it tries to go, it does make it, you get a close outside and a new high, and then you get a second entry short here. So I like going short there because you can clearly see that's right off the key entry point. And where does it go? It runs right down to the low side. You do have another second entry here, but I don't think I would take it. You're still in this channel. So you don't have a close outside yet. I would just wait. You get the close outside, new low, and then it reverses. Now, this one would be tempting because it still looks like a leg down, a correction, and another leg down. I did not mark this one because maybe the trend line is down here. It could be. I had it marked where it was up here, and that looked like an overshoot. But when you move it, is it an overshoot? It's hard to say. So there's still room to get out, but I would just sit tight on that. It's hard to know if prices are going to go higher from there or if they're going to continue to work lower. So I would just sit tight on that one. And then we just get a quick move up. There is a second entry there, but there's no signal bar, but we end up just going higher. So what you have here is a spike. It spikes up and goes into another channel. Of course, it's a strong channel again, but it's still a channel. And notice the correction here, close outside, and new low all in one. Then it makes a higher low here. So I like good signal bar. I like going long there. And then you get yet another higher low. Maybe you enter there. Um, you could consider that a failure with a continuation pattern right there, because you do have a confirmed trend line now. So you could enter it for that reason, or you could even say, hey, that's a high or low following a double bottom. So there's several reasons to like that trade. There is room to get out. I did mark it green, but because there is some resistance right across there, but you could take that trade if you wanted. I just think it's a little bit aggressive. It runs up, makes a new high, then pulls back, and you just get a first entry there. You might argue that's a double bottom, and so that's a reversal as well. So for that reason, again, I marked it green because you could make that argument, and it is a very bullish bar, and it's also an engulfing bar. It broke lower, failed, and turned up, and that's mostly bearish. So you might even enter that one tick above that. Again, most of you should just stay clear of the engulfing bars. Wait till they close before you make any decisions. But either way, you still might like that trade because there's reasons to consider it, and off it goes again. Notice we're moving up, close outside, and it just continues higher on this upper. This thing had gotten really strong for a little bit there. There's actually a second entry here, but it's an inside no body bar, what I call it's not really a doji, but it has no body. It's a bullish bar, but it's an inside bar, so I would skip that. Runs to a new high, and then you get two legs down, but you don't get a setup down here that's really that you really could take. So this would be your signal bar, and it's pretty much a doji. Um, there's just not, it's just too neutral of a bar, and that's taking you right into 2 o'clock anyway, 2:30 anyway. So I would just sit tight. So I don't think you want to enter after that. Anyway, there it is. Again, there's not a lot of trades there, but most of them were pretty straightforward today. There's a couple of decent setups there. I hate when you get these really strong trends and you just don't get any setups because it's frustrating. And a lot of people, that's where a lot of people will make mistakes because they'll force a trade. So just be careful on these days where you get a strong move up and you just don't get a lot of setups. Wait on the good setups. If that means it goes without you, because you're going to see some of them move really strongly even if you don't have a good setup. So just be careful with them. That's the way I would leave it with you. But anyway, there it is for today. Not much else I can say about today. Just a strong trend day. It started out to the downside during the overnight and then reversed early and just never really. It looked like we might have a range day here after filling the gap, but it takes off and it's just strong all the way up the rest of the day. So, but there it is. So, not much else I can say about this day. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.